Welcome to the Reconnection Club podcast, the show that helps parents heal troubled relationships with their adult sons and daughters. I'm your host, psychotherapist Tina Gilbertson. Each week, I'll offer you compassion, clarity, and personal development tips designed to help you reconnect, not only with your child, but with yourself. Now let's get started. If your adult child decided to withdraw from a relationship with you, one of the feelings you might be experiencing is rejection. And since rejection is one of the most painful emotions we humans can feel, I'd like to share with you 5 constructive ways to better cope with it if you're having a hard time during estrangement. I hope your estrangement doesn't last much longer, but as long as it is with you, please make sure you're taking the following 5 steps. Number 1, find compassion for yourself and actively cultivate compassion in your daily life. The pain of rejection can be as bad as physical pain. In studies, it's been demonstrated that social rejection lights up the same areas of the brain that are active when we're physically hurt. The kind response to someone in pain is to be kind. Be gentle in your self-talk and think about performing acts of self-care that are meaningful to you. Make sure you do those regularly, especially when you're in pain. That might mean making plans to be around someone who appreciates you, taking yourself out for a walk on a beautiful day, or putting money aside for a future trip. Self-compassion without acts of self-care is harder to feel and believe. So that's number 1, is to cultivate self-compassion. Number 2, tolerate difficult feelings without acting on them. If your child's rejection has made you feel bad, that doesn't mean your child holds the only key to your feeling better. Don't give your child or anyone else that much power over your state of mind. As long as you can tolerate your own emotions, you maintain your ability to make choices. If you can't tolerate feeling rejected, that pain will force you to thrash and flail around, reaching out to your child whether they welcome the contact or not, or taking other actions that aren't well thought out, such as sending gifts or talking to third parties without discretion. Anything you do that's motivated by strong emotions can further damage the relationship. So make up your mind that no matter how much it hurts, you will tolerate that pain instead of acting on it. If you let yourself experience the pain that's with you in any given moment, it will subside in a few moments. It may come back again the next time you think about the situation, but if you ride the wave of those emotions, you won't have to tolerate feeling terrible for more than a short time. So number 2 is tolerate your emotions rather than acting on them. For much more on exactly how to do that, please see my book, Constructive Wallowing. Number 3. Take some time to consciously think about when in your life you have felt rejected before. What I have learned is that in many cases, the estrangement is triggering feelings in parents that were already there, even before the child was born. Go as far back as your childhood and search for feelings of rejection or abandonment in your history. You don't have to have been literally abandoned or rejected for these feelings to have taken root in your younger self. Maybe your parents had to work so much that they were hardly ever around when you were growing up. Maybe you had so many brothers and sisters that attention was scarce. Maybe there was a divorce or separation and you felt abandoned by the parent who left. There are many pretty normal circumstances that could have led to these feelings. And if you were actually rejected or abandoned by a parent or caregiver when you were young, or rejected by friends or partners earlier in life, those experiences undoubtedly left an impression on you. They made you especially sensitive to those feelings. Try to find situations in your personal history where you experienced other people's behavior as abandonment or rejection. Doing that will help you understand the estrangement not as causing your feelings, but as triggering them. And that your child's return will not solve the problem as long as you're carrying the memories and pain of those early experiences. So number 3 is think about when you've been rejected before. And going back to numbers 1 and 2, find compassion for yourself while you sit with those feelings. Number 4, try not to take the estrangement personally. It does feel personal, of course. Your child knows you arguably better than anyone. They've seen you with your hair down. They've seen you in pajamas. They've seen you at your worst and your weakest. If they reject you when they know you this well, it can feel deeply personal. But it is also true that you're more than just a person to your children. You are also mother with a capital M or father with a capital F. You've always played a particular, special, unique role in their lives. And their relationship to that role changes as they get older. If you're a mom of a son who's always been close, you might find that he needs to step back from that closeness in order to feel more like a man instead of a boy. That is not personal. It's developmental. If you're concerned your child doesn't like you as a person, you may need to work on self-acceptance. Don't work on getting your child to like you more. Liking yourself always comes first. But don't lose sight of the role you play in your child's life and the fact that your child is responding to that role as much as to you. So number 4 is try not to take the rejection personally. Number 5, take charge of something in your life so you don't feel powerless. Feeling rejected is often accompanied by feeling like you have no power. If you're aware of a sense of powerlessness, taking charge and doing something can counteract that false impression. Do something you've always wanted to do. Take control of your health, your finances, or anything else that will remind you that you matter and that you can take action to change your circumstances. If you have trouble with this, try talking with a therapist or joining a support group. If there's anything that makes being rejected or abandoned worse, it's rejecting and abandoning yourself. By taking charge of something within your control, you signal to yourself that you are not a person to be discarded by the side of the road, but rather a complete and competent human being. You don't need anyone else to deem you worthy of attention. You're already worthy. So pay attention to yourself and actively live your one precious life. So again, those 5 ways of coping with rejection were number 1, practice self-compassion. Number 2, tolerate your feelings. Number 3, review your rejection history. Number 4, remember your child may be rejecting not you as a person, but your role as the parent with a capital P. And 5, take charge of something in your life in order to remember that you have power. Until next time, remember that you are a loving, lovable, and still growing human being. So please take good care of yourself. Bye for now. If you've enjoyed this episode of the Reconnection Club podcast, I invite you to check out reconnectionclub.com. The Reconnection Club is for parents at any stage of estrangement from their adult, child, or children. So whether you've just realized there's trouble between you, you've been living with estrangement for years, or you're newly reconciled but still walking on eggshells, the Reconnection Club is your essential resource for information, support, and continued personal growth. With our courses and workshops, expert interviews, monthly Q&A calls, and a friendly, active community, the Reconnection Club is a wonderful place to be for anyone suffering the pain of estrangement from an adult, child, or children. So check it out at reconnectionclub.com.